Hello guys, welcome back to VC Tech. In today's video, we are going to be talking about multi-layer switch and how they can act as a router on a network. I know you'll be asking, what is a multi-layer switch? Yes, I'm going to show you what a multi-layer switch is. Let me disconnect this. So this is a multi-layer switch, as this device right here can serve as a layer 2 device and also a layer 3 device, but we would have to configure it to serve as a layer 3 device. So this is how a layer 3 device looks like. Before you could use this device, you would have to power it on by dragging and dropping this AC supply, put it there. So by the time when you plug this, it's going to come on fast. So without powering the multi-layer switch on, you would not be able to access the CLI on the router interface. For this one, we've not powered it on, so let's try to see. We see device must be powered on before we could access this. So let's power that on by dragging and dropping the AC power supply. Then we can go to the CLI. So this is how to power on a multi-layer switch. It is not like the regular router, which it's plug and play. For a multi-layer switch, you would have to power it on before you could use the CLI, as it also comes with 24 ports like the switch, like the layer 2 regular switch, and a 4 giga port. And on default, all those ports, they come as a switch port. They come as a layer 2 device port. We are going to have to configure it to serve as a layer 3 device before it can serve as a layer 3 device. And that is what we are going to do right now. First of all, let's assign IP address to the IP interfaces on the router. So for this layer 3 device, it's connected to interface gig 0/0. Let's assign that fast. 192.168.1.1, and for gigaport 0.1, 192.168.2.1. By doing that, we've assigned IP address to the interfaces on the router. Now let's configure our main objective for today's tutorial, which is converting the multi-layer device from layer 2 to layer 3 so it can be able to route IP address outside the network. So how can we do that? So we enable just as we always do. Then we say interface gig 10/1 is the interface that is connected to this router over here, which is gigaport 0/0, and they are using the IP address of 192.168.1.0. We have to enable IP routing on the multi-layer switch globally. So we say IP routing. By doing this, we've enabled IP routing on the multi-layer switch by telling it that it is allowed to route IP address from one switch or one port to another. Now it's time for us to convert the ports from a layer 2 device to a layer 3 device so it can be able to route IP address. So what we do is you say interface gig 1/0/1. If you look at this, you're going to see a switch port. So this device is at the moment serving as a switch port, but we have to change that. We can do that by saying no switch port. Now we've removed the switch port. So when we get to the next multi-layer switch, I'm going to show you something. As you can see, we just told the multi-layer switch that it should be serving as an IP port. Now we can configure an IP address. Remember that network has 1.0, so this will be taking 1.2 since the other interface has 1.1. So with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, we also want to say no shots. So we've given this interface on the multi-layer switch an IP address, when on default a multi-layer switch comes as a switch port, which means it serves as a layer 2 device, but we just configured it to serve as a layer 3 device by enabling IP routing on the multi-layer switch globally. And also on the interface we said no switch ports, because if you remember properly, switch ports are access ports. So we configured on the interface that we don't want the interface to serve as a switch port, rather it should serve as an IP port. That is why we have an IP address here. That is how we change a switch port to an IP port on a multi-layer switch. So let's do that on the second multi-layer switch. Remember guys, I have something to show you. So configure terminal, what is that? Okay, so this interface is interface. So this interface is interface gig10/1. It's the same on the other layer 3 device. So gig1/0/1. Now if we try to assign IP address directly without, let's go back and see IP routing. Now if we try to assign IP address on this port without telling the port to not serve as a switch port, let's see what we are going to get. IP address 192.168.2.2, the subnet mask of 255.255.0. Well, as you can see, invalid input, because the multi-layer switch is serving as a layer 2 device, which is, it is working on a switch port. It does not know, a switch port does not know what an IP address is, and that is what the multi-layer switch is working on right now. However, if we say no switch port and we try the same IP address that we tried previously that showed us error, and let's see what we are going to get. Now you see we are able to get an IP address for that port. If we hover on the you see now we have an IP address for that port. Guys, this is how we configure an IP address on a multi-layer switch, by enabling IP routing on the switch globally, and also saying it is very important to always remember to say no switch ports on the layer 3 device for you to be able to assign IP address to the port. Thank you guys for watching this video, as we've come to the end of this tutorial. So if this helped you understand how to convert a switch port to an IP port, then you're going to be amazed what is coming next, because I'm going to show you how all this device, because this is a default gateway for a local area network, as well as this is a default gateway for a local area network. Now I have a question for you. Is it possible for a device on this local area network to communicate with a device on this local area network? Think about it and let me know, because in the next tutorial we are going to be talking about how devices on this local area network can communicate with devices on this local area network, and also on this local area network. Thank you guys, and see you in the next video.